With the next Nintendo console on its way, hopefully next year, we know we're probably gonna get the infamous Super Smash Bros. 6. Now, in a recent interview, Sakurai has stated that every single Smash game he has worked on, he always expects it to be his last. However, if it makes money, it makes sense. So we're probably gonna see another Smash Bros. Game to come with the new Nintendo console. But Sakurai has very strictly said that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was a one-time thing and we're never going to get to that same magnitude again. So we need to start thinking of new ways to develop and how they're going to basically sell a new Smash Bros. Game. And to me, it seems pretty obvious that they're just going to completely overhaul Smash Bros. Just start again. Just change all the movesets we've known for all the fundamental characters like your Links and your Marios and your Donkey Kongs are going to completely change. So what we've known for the past like 2 decades now, we're going to start all over again. And honestly, as a long-term Super Smash Bros. Fan, that gets me very, very excited. But since they're going to be changing all the movesets, they're obviously going to have to cut down all the characters because they're rebuilding this from the ground up, basically. So that's why I'm going to go through in today's video and just discuss all the characters who I think they're going to cut from the next Smash Bros. Game. I'm not going to discuss the characters who I think they're going to keep, as I don't need to talk to you guys about how they're going to keep Mario in the game. If you're new to the channel, then be sure to subscribe, as it really, really does help out, and, well, it means the world to me, honestly. So, just thank you in advance if you do choose to do it anyway. So let's start with one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, which is Pokémon, and I honestly think they're going to get rid of so many of these characters. They're going to get rid of Lucario, Greninja, Incineroar, Pichu, and even Jigglypuff. I can hear what you guys are saying already. Oh my god, what are you talking about? They're not going to get rid of one of the original 12. But Smash Bros. Fans have always been caught with their pants down, in the sense that we always just make up these random rules that have never been confirmed ever. And for some reason we always say, oh, the original 12, they're always going to be in the games. But why Jigglypuff? But why? Like, Sakurai's never confirmed this, and let's be honest, nobody wants Jigglypuff in the games. Jigglypuff has never held that much prominence ever in a Smash Bros. Game. Like, Sakurai's even wanted to cut Jigglypuff multiple times from past iterations of Smash Bros, but just because of how things have worked out, she's managed to squeeze her way in. Heck, even in Subspace, all of the original 12 characters had somewhat of a sort of a story plot or like a good character arc, something like that. But Jigglypuff was just an added on bonus at the end, similar to Toon Link and Wolf. She didn't have a role in the story. Like, Sakurai does not care about Jigglypuff, but she just seems to always keep making an appearance. So honestly, I think Sakurai is craving to get rid of this character. As for the other Pokemon, Pichu has been cut from the game before, so they don't stand a chance. Greninja, Lucario, and Incineroar, well, especially for Lucario, I think it's definitely outstayed their welcome. And the other two, I think they're just going to update with new Pokemon. Like, I really reckon they're going to even get rid of the Pokemon trainer as well, and like just switch out with different Pokemon. Just really just refresh the cast here. Like, I know I've just said that, but I would love for Charizard to get his own character spot again. As when I went to Japan earlier this year, oh my gosh, there was definitely certain Pokemon who are just so prominent in the culture, and one of them definitely is Charizard. And you know what? Even a Pokemon like Gengar would be interesting. Like, Gengar is such a huge Pokemon within the game. Why has Gengar not been a character? Like, it just seems quite weird to me. Gengar was in Pokken, like, we can see it can kind of work, so heck, swap out Lucario and bring in Gengar, or just something like that. Basically, what I'm guessing at is, I think the next Smash Bros. Game is really going to have the iconic characters, so I think, like, yeah, the Pokemon like Lucario, Greninja, and Incineroar just don't quite make the cut. Obviously, I know Lucario and Greninja are huge Pokemon in their own rights, and the fan base love them, but let's refresh it. And as for the Pokemon trainer, you know, if we're going to make Charizard a standalone character, bring in Blastoise. You know, it was Pokemon Red and Blue. Like, why is Blastoise not in the game? It's such an iconic Pokemon. And in the past, Sakurai has known of new Pokemon who are going to get released that we as the public don't know about. So there may be a Pokemon that Sakurai knows about that he's going to add to the game from the next Pokemon generation that we just don't know about, and that Pokemon's going to be in Smash Bros. So yeah, I really think they're going to strip down a lot of the Pokemon and bring in some fresh faces, which honestly, like, how can we complain about? That just sounds so good. I want to play with different characters now. Okay, so now let's look at the DLC characters, and I'll list off the ones who I think are going to go, and I'll quickly mention the ones who I think are going to stay. Now, the ones I reckon are going to go are going to be Piranha Plant, Joker, Hero, Banjo, Terry, Byleth, Min Min, Sephiroth, Pyramithra, Kazuya, and that's it. I think they're going to keep Steve and Sora because they have such a good relationship with Square Enix now, so they're probably going to be keeping Cloud, but probably not Sephiroth. Is that maybe just too much? I mean, if they kept Sephiroth, I'm not complaining. Fantastic villain, would love to see him in the game, but I don't know, I think this one might be give or take. It might be they might just completely get rid of all the Square Enix characters, or they may keep Cloud and Sora, since Sora was the most asked for character in Smash Bros. And Steve is such a huge and iconic character within the gaming sphere, so absolutely keep Steve, and he's such a unique character too. It would be an awful shame to get rid of that. Now, I mentioned Kazuya would get kicked out, but I could see him getting replaced with the other character from Tekken being Heihachi, since, you know, he was like considered to be in the game, but for some reason they chose not to and they opted for Kazuya instead. But if I'm going to be honest, I think Heihachi is far more iconic than Kazuya, and if they're going for iconic characters, then, you know, that swap out makes complete and utter sense to me. By the way, this isn't me saying that they're going to get rid of DLC characters. They are absolutely going to have DLC characters in the game. That really built up a lot of hype within the community, and we absolutely loved it, and I'm sure Nintendo loved it as it made them a lot of money. As for the other DLC characters who are getting cut, I just don't think they had made such an impact. Like, Banjo-Kazooie came back and I loved that so much, but then we haven't heard anything from Banjo since their Smash Bros announcement, and it's just like, oh, well, okay, well, we haven't got a new Banjo game or anything of the sort, so has that really made an impact? You know, as for Joker and Hero and Terry, obviously big characters in their own rights, but just getting third-party characters in is such hard work, and to be honest, I think we would just prefer to see other characters. Like, why would we want to play with the same characters as before? Like, let's swap them out and get some new third-party DLC characters in the game. Min Min was there to represent ARMS, and ARMS didn't sell particularly well, so I don't see why they would bring Min Min back, or if they were, maybe they'll swap Min Min out for another ARMS representative like Spring Man or Ribbon Girl, but once again, I don't think there's that much demand for it. Pyramithra, I'm not sure if we need multiple Chrono Trigger representatives. We've got Shulk, and he's kind of the poster child for Chrono Trigger now, but like, do we need any more? And if we do, once again, let's swap them out. Like, I do believe they'll probably, like, the whole Pyramithra's gimmick was sort of swapping characters out, similar to how Zelda and Sheik did it before, but I don't believe they're going to make Zelda and Sheik their own separate characters. I think they're going to combine those two characters back together how it used to be. So once again, Pyramithra then don't really become that unique of a character, as they're just filling in a trait or a gimmick that an old character used to do. So were they really that unique? And Piranha Plant, although a fun character, obviously isn't that popular in Mario in comparison to like other Mario characters, and I don't think Sakurai's team should prioritize getting him in the game, because, you know, I'm glad we got to play as him, but let's just leave that in Ultimate. Speaking of Mario characters, which one of them are going to get cut? Well, obviously not many of them, although I do hope they get rid of Dr. Mario. I understand that with Echo Fighters don't take priority over original characters. They are just being added in because you know, why not add in an extra character if we're able to? But I just really don't want it to be Dr. Mario. Nobody cares for Dr. Mario or any of those games. But a bit more of an interesting character to talk about would be Bowser Jr. I honestly think Bowser Jr. will make a better stage hazard. He is a fun character, and we've had fun playing as him for the last 2 Smash Bros games, but I feel as if his sort of car mechanic would be a lot more interesting given to another character. You know, there are so many characters outside of Nintendo even who use like big mechanism robots. You know, you could have Troy Bond from Mega Man Legends, or even Dr. Eggman from Sonic. You know, I know the Sonic franchise are craving for another character to be added into Smash Bros. So how about we give that gimmick away to another character and take it away from Bowser Jr. You know, even if Bowser Jr.'s moveset got completely changed up, I don't think we'll get Bowser Jr. back in this current iteration. I think he'll either be downgraded to a stage hazard, or he'll be upgraded to having a completely different moveset outside of the clown car. So I've said that about getting rid of Dr. Mario, so many of you may be thinking, oh, get rid of Daisy. Honestly, no. I really think they need to keep Daisy. You know, Daisy's relevance has been probably the biggest it's ever been, with her being an actual playable character for the very first time in a mainstream Mario game, being New Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And it was an absolute joy playing as her. She's got so much character and so much personality. It really is a bit of a breath of fresh air. And I can see Peach's moveset being changed now with the brand new Princess Peach game that's come out. There's so much potential for her to have a very unique moveset, and Daisy can hold on to that original moveset, so that base is still being covered. Now, staying within the realms of the original 12, I honestly think Star Fox would be very lucky to keep many of their characters. Unfortunately, I've got to get rid of Wolf, even though he is one of my main characters, so it really does kill me to say that. But I'm honestly so 50-50 on whether or not they'll keep or get rid of Falco. Now, I know Falco has been a staple character since Melee and has a huge fan base behind him, but Star Fox hasn't released a game in so many years. It's such almost a dead franchise at this point. Like, nobody plays Star Fox. They don't care for Star Fox. Like, I really loved the old Star Fox games on the Nintendo 64, but that was many years ago. And they've released new games on like the DS and handhelds, but Nintendo don't seem to be doing anything with this game series anymore. So I think they'll be lucky to keep hold of Falco, but I have kept Falco and just gotten rid of Wolf for now. But I'm just saying, Star Fox fans, just be prepared for the worst. In terms of Legend of Zelda, I've just said Young Link. I think, you know, Zelda will be combined back with Sheik to make a really unique character there. And I think Ganondorf has been very slowly making changes to make him a lot more individual away from Captain Falcon. So I think this next iteration of Super Smash Bros. Will finally get a fully fleshed original Ganondorf. And I think Toon Link needs to be there still, to still hold on to those remnants of what the old original Link's moveset was like. Because I think Link, with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, has so much potential for a brand new and exciting moveset. So having Toon Link there once again represents obviously the Wind Waker series, but also represents Link's old moveset, which I think is vital to still have in Smash Bros. Speaking of Zelda and Sheik being combined as the same character, I kind of think we might get the same with Zero Suit Samus and Samus, that you could only unlock playing as that through a final Smash, or maybe something else. Just, I think those two characters should once again be combined like how they originally were. In terms of Earthbound, I think Lucas is going to have to bite the bullet on this one, I'm afraid. Like, he got cut pretty much from Super Smash Bros. 4 and then got added in as a DLC character. So I just think Lucas is going to go. He was almost cut before, so it just makes sense. They're either going to cut Lucas or even cut Ness. I think one of those two could go. I mean, I think everyone would agree that Ness is probably more iconic, but you know, I mean, I wouldn't be too mad if they gave it to Lucas instead, though, because I think I do prefer Lucas over Ness ever so slightly. I think he's just got a bit more personality. He's got a little bit more going on with him. Moving on to Kid Icarus, and if I'm gonna be honest with you, if Kid Icarus wasn't, you know, basically Sakurai's child, then I would say Pit would be in a big risk to get cut from the game, but obviously he's not, so he's gonna stay in the game, obviously. But, you know, Kid Icarus hasn't had a new game since 2012. That is literally like 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago. Never had a new game on the Nintendo Switch. So, like, in terms of, like, who deserves to be in the game, honestly, I really kind of hope they cut Palutena and Dark Pit. You know, I don't think either one of them have too much of an influence within the gaming scene, even though obviously for Nintendo and definitely on a wider spectrum. So I don't know, the only way they would stay in would be because Sakurai would favour them to stay in, but mark my word, if Sakurai wasn't involved in the whole Kid Icarus franchise, I really think Pit would be in danger here, but he's not going to be, so all we can do is sort of sit and hope that they would get rid of the other two. Now, there is a whole heap of Fire Emblem characters to get rid of here, and I've chosen to get rid of Roy, Chrom, Robin, and Corrin. Now, I'm keeping Lucina because I think Lucina's, we need that sort of representative from Fire Emblem Awakening. Now, I know what you're thinking. Robin's also from Fire Emblem Awakening. Why would we not keep Robin? Robin's far more of a unique character. To that I agree with, but once again, they're going to be starting all over again, and having another Echo Fighter is a lot easier to have than making a brand new character from scratch. Also, I think Lucina's just a bit more of an interesting character. She's a far more integral part of Fire Emblem Awakening. Robin is just the character you play as. Like, Robin is you. Like, in terms of the story, like what you're watching, Lucina is far more important of a character and represents Fire Emblem Awakening a lot more than Robin does, in my opinion. Roy, Chrom, and Corrin, all very fun characters. I very much enjoy playing as them, but I think we need more interesting Fire Emblem characters. There's so many characters in that game franchise who have such interesting weapons, whether it be magic, a staff, a spear, an axe, or just a bow and arrow, something. We just need characters dedicated to those sorts of weaponry, and we've got so many of these sword wielding characters. I know Corrin can interchange between a lot of different weapons, and a Spylift actually, so I got them mixed up. Corrin is a bit more of an interesting character, but at the end of the day, Corrin still does have a sword. So let's just overhaul those characters and hopefully bring in some more fresh faces and more characters with an interesting moveset. Oh, and whilst we're at it, let's also get rid of Ike. Like, we don't need a heavy wielding sword character. There's plenty to choose from in the gaming industry, and if Cloud's gonna stick around, then Cloud could very comfortably take that space. If we're gonna revamp Super Smash Bros., let's do it properly. Get rid of Ike. We don't need a Fire Emblem character from a game that's about 20 years old now. When you think of Fire Emblem, you think of Marth. You think of Fire Emblem Awakening. You think of Fire Emblem Three Houses. No one thinks, ah yes, Fire Emblem Dawn of Radiance with Ike. Wii Fit Trainer, I think, is going to go and be just replaced with some sort of different, sort of off-the-wall kind of character. I think Wii Fit Trainer's sort of done what she's needed to do in Smash Bros. I don't think anyone's craving for her to stay in the game, honestly. Let's have another fun character to take her place. Dark Samus is a weird one. I feel as if Dark Samus definitely warrants their own moveset. Like, they are such a unique character in the Metroid series. They're absolutely warranted of their own moveset. Obviously they're similar to Samus, but in many ways they're not. So for me, it's quite mad how Dark Samus isn't their own standalone character. So I think if they got cut completely, that would be a shame. But if they did come back, they will come back as their own brand new unique character. I don't think we'll get Dark Samus back as an Echo Fighter. I would really like to see Ice Climbers gone. I can't lie. Like, Ice Climbers have done absolutely nothing in recent years. Not even recent years, in decades. I think there's more retro characters who we could have represented to take their spot as like a retro representative. I mean, we already have lots of retro characters in the game, but I want to see someone else. I don't want to see Ice Climbers anymore. Maybe this one's a bit personal for me because I just don't like the Ice Climbers. I think they're just annoying and weird, and I don't think they're a very good representative of retro Nintendo games, since they only really ever had a single game. Solid Snake, I think, will go because he's kind of been in and out, like, sort of up and down like a yo-yo. He's in, then he's out, then he's in, and then he's out. So I just think by the laws of average, he probably won't be in this game. And then if there's a future Smash Bros. Game, he might be in that one. Speaking on Echo Fighters, I think Richter is going to go. Like, I don't think Richter really holds that much of a weight within the Castlevania series, and I think they'll just completely get rid of him and hopefully bring in a more prevalent character. And I think we all know which one I'm talking about. His name leaves me, I can't remember his name, but he's the vampire guy, and he's a character that Sakurai did actually want to add, so I could definitely see that character being in the next Smash Bros. Game. And the final character I think they might get rid of, and this one's a real 50-50 for me, as I don't really care too much if they're in it or not, and that's Bayonetta. I think Bayonetta being owned by Sega would definitely want there to be another Sonic representative. Sonic has been probably more popular than he's ever been with, you know, the free movies that have come out and just the games that are being released. And if Sega wanted another representative, take out Bayonetta and give us Dr. Eggman, give us Knuckles, Tails, Metal Sonic, Shadow, any one of those characters. If that's maybe the agreement they got of just having this unlimited number of Sega representatives, then maybe switch out Bayonetta for a Sonic character. So here is my character select screen for you all to view in your viewing pleasure. I'm sure you guys have got a lot to say about it. Maybe you disagree with me, but maybe some of you potentially agree with me. I would love to see that, but hey, I am more than happy to engage in conversation with all of you guys in the comment section below. So once again, let me know, what did you think? Did you like my list, or do you perhaps despise my list? Let me know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe for all things Nintendo.